In this video, we're going to install these dynamic lower fairing LED light inserts from Custom Dynamics. These things are going to look really awesome. And if you want to know how to install them on your road glide, stick around. What's going on, everybody? My name is Andrew. This is Touring Midwest. This is my 2016 Harley-Davidson Road Glide Ultra, and I think it needs more lights. So let's go ahead and get into this. We could go over what's in the box a little bit. Your grill inserts, which are a direct replacement for the OEM grills in the lower fairing. You've got instructions. This is like a 3-piece instruction thing going on, so hopefully I can help you out with that in this video. And you've got some different sticky back attachments here, some alcohol prep pads, zip ties, very important for any lighting project where you're dealing with wiring. And you've got your wiring harnesses here that we're going to need to integrate these lights into the system on the motorcycle. They're going to be run and turn lights. So when you're just riding along, they'll be white. And when you use your signals, they're going to signal in amber. And we need the wiring harnesses to tie all that together. So that's what's in the box. First thing we need to do is get this windshield off of here, remove the outer fairing on the motorcycle. I'm going to show you how to do that, and we'll get right into this. The first thing you're going to need is an Allen head to remove the windscreen from the motorcycle. There's 2 screws on either side. I've got 1 Allen head and 1 Phillips head on each side, a bit of a security measure. I'm just kidding. I lost one of the bolts, and all I had that fit perfectly were Phillips heads. So it's a security measure, right? Now, just for reference purposes, this is the dynamic windshield trim from Custom Dynamics, so this is really, really cool. Take note that when I'm undoing these screws holding in the windscreen, I'm actually going to leave this one and this one in place. That way, while we're removing all the other bolts, the fairing is going to be held into place. So we're just going to back these off, pull our windscreen off, set that aside. This is a piece of fairing trim that you can get from Zero 3D. Just kind of cleans this up a little bit, so instead of this rubber here, you got some nice shiny gloss black. So it's a nice little add-on. We're going to just remove these screws completely while we pull off the vent portion of the fairing. If you've got windshield LED trim, you can just set that off to the side for now. Once those screws are removed, you should be able to just lift up on your vent and it should pop right off. Just like so. Alright, next thing you want to do is locate these wires right here. You can tell they're zip tied to your fairing. Those are going to come off with your fairing, so just unplug those clips. Leave everything else in place, unless you've got this little light strip. This is also from Zero 3D, the vent LED light. You're going to want to unplug that as well. I know a lot of you follow my YouTube channel and you've seen me install a lot of this stuff, and perhaps you've actually purchased it yourself. So that's why I'm running over kind of everything. It is very hot and humid right now. Next step is going to be to remove your speaker grills. So just pop those speaker grills right out. You can reach those from inside the fairing here. Just give them a little push from the inside, a little pull from the outside. They should just pop out. The next one you're going to want to do is a 3/16 Allen wrench. And you're going to want to remove the visible bolt from your turn signal. Turn signals will stay attached to the outer fairing when we remove it. You need a T30 Torx bit to remove the screw that's behind where your fairing grills were. There's one on each side. And that just leaves the T20 bit that's on your air deflectors on the lower side of the fairing. In case you're trying to follow along with the instructions, I'm going to do it kind of in that order. So they want you now to use the BCM connectors that they include. They're saying to plug this in now, so we're going to go ahead and plug that in right now. Just like that. This is the one that we unplugged from the fairing. Okay, so our next step is going to be to remove the lower fairing grills. They say to use something soft, like a plastic tool or something to pry it off, but I find that you can just do it with your fingers pretty easily. So according to the instructions, there's 2 screws on the inside of the lower fairing, and you're supposed to remove those so that you can pull back on the inner plate enough to get the wiring harness through. I could not get those screws out. They just spin, like whatever they're screwed to just spins. So I'm not sure what the deal is there, but I did find that I didn't need to remove those screws. The plastic is soft enough where I could kind of pull it out and push in on the vent, and I had room to get the wiring harness through. So I would say don't even bother with those screws unless you think you need to, but mine will not come out. So I don't know if there's a secret that I'm missing or whatever, but point is, we got the wiring harness through, or we got the wiring connector through, whatever you want to say. So we can move on to the next step, which is running the wires up through the fairing. You're going to want to just do what you can to keep the wires hidden and secure them as you go with the included zip ties and clips and things. So you just continue to pull that wire right through carefully, and then once you get the grill close enough, you can just insert the tabs just like the stock grill. And pop her into place. At this point, if you want to test it real quick just to make sure it works and you got power to it, just grab your cord, don't worry about it, plug these in right here, go ahead and turn on your bike, and you can see if they light up or not. If they do, you're in business. Try the blinker. So now that we know they work, we can go ahead and run our wiring. Now how you decide to run the wire is completely up to you. I'll try to show you how I do it. My goal is just going to be to hide it as best as I can. So if I can get a decent angle with the GoPro, I'll try and show you how I do it. Alright, so I've decided probably the best way to do this is to actually remove the headlight so we can see what's going on. We want to hide these wires as best we can, so I'm going to show you how to do that real quick. It's pretty easy to remove the headlight. You need to first remove your bezel. This may look different than yours because this is the Custom Dynamics bezel. I've also got the mean mug from Gas Capital Customs. You can remove the screws for the bezels with the T25 Torx bit. You probably won't even need the wrench. None of this stuff is going to be torqued down super hard. Once your bezels are out of the way, you can use a 3/16 Allen wrench to remove the 2 bolts for the headlight. Two on the underside of the headlight and 2 above the headlight. Once those are undone, your headlight should pull right out of here. And there's just the one plug. There may be way more going on here than what you have on your bike. I've added a lot of stuff. I've got a Sounds Customs amp, and I've got a bunch of different Custom Dynamics lights and things like that. So if I'm moving wires and stuff around and it's confusing you, that's what's going on. I'm sorry. But now with that headlight out of our way, it should make it much easier to try to run this wiring and make it as hidden as possible. What I want to do is just run it right along all the other wires, or as much of the other wires as I see going up through into the fairing. And I can get to that from right inside here, right behind the fairing. What I like to do anytime I can is run along other wiring. You can always zip tie to other wiring and things like that, and just follow it up to where you need to go. While you're running the wire, just make sure you've left enough slack so you're able to zip tie along the down tubes and along the wiring leading up to this point. As you can see, I've got plenty of extra wire here, so if you want to route things a different way, you'd probably be fine to do that. But I think this way is going to suit me just fine. A little more work, a couple more steps removing the headlight, but overall, I think it's a good plan. Alright, well, I didn't start stressing out too bad until I had to try and figure out how to run those wires. But now that we've done that, we're ready to start getting things put back together. So what we did is, the wire came through this panel here. I'm running it up under here, and I'm going to run it along the down tube all the way up underneath the fairing. Once you get up underneath the fairing, there's all these wires and cables and such going into this sort of mount or brace or whatever that runs inside, and it comes out this area right here. This is the cables for my stereo, but this is a lot of the electronics for the actual bike, and I've got other wires run through here as well. But that's where you want to come in, or that's at least where I came in, and then from there I just ran the wire up and out through this area right here. So my cable comes right up there for the right side of the motorcycle, and on this side it comes up right over here. So hopefully that kind of gives you an idea how I ran the wires. All we got to do is zip tie that wire to the down tubes on each side, and then just run it along that wiring as good as we can. If we can get a zip tie in there, that would be great. And then once it's up in the fairing, I think you're probably going to be alright, because we're running along with other cables. There's not really anything inside the fairing that's going to be sharp or any real pinch points, especially going this way. When we put the fairing back on, that's not going to interfere with the wires at all. All of these will be tucked up in here nice. We'll zip tie them in, so that should be good. So at this point, let's go ahead and get our headlight reinstalled again. Now again, if you've got the stock headlight, that's going to be quite a bit different than this one. This one is from Custom Dynamic. This is their Pro Beam, and it's pretty cool. It's got signals actually built into the headlight. That's what these other cords are for. Plug this baby back in. I'm going to go ahead and reattach these. By the way, I have no idea what these are actually for, but they get held on to the headlight right here. There's a lot of cables and wires and stuff around here, so as long as you can get like one bolt started, and then just kind of try and move wiring harnesses and things out of your way as you go. And of course, never tighten down one bolt until you've got all four of them pretty much hand tightened down. Then we can go around and start snugging them into place. Do not over tighten these screws for these bezels, because they will crack, and they don't need to be super tight, just snug. Still have to zip tie those wires to the down tubes on the frame of the bike, but other than that, we're good to go. I got everything put back together. I went around, double checked all the bolts, made sure we were nice and tight. I need to wipe everything down now because I'm sweaty and got paw prints all over my motorcycle. The lights work. We have right turn signal. Everything on the right is flashing. And we have left turn signals. Everything on the left is flashing. Overall, I think those things just look really, really cool. I'm psyched to have them on my bike. Again, they're from Custom Dynamics. I'll drop a link down in the description so you can go pick one up. Not affiliate or anything like that. Just if there's any notes or anything like that, just let them know that you came from Touring Midwest. So that's going to do it, y'all. Thank you so very, very much. Have a good one. Stay safe out there as always. And I will see you next time, right here on Touring Midwest. I need a shower. I want to go ride.